Hello, hello, welcome. This is Here's Your Good Health. My name is Linda Prezioso. Look at this hair. Oh my God.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. You look cute.
I'm a nurse practitioner at Rocky Mount Family Medical, and I've started working at Horizon Medical. I'll have to tell you about that sometime, but not tonight. Tonight, I'm really excited. My friend Keisha Spivey is here with me. She has organized for a RAM here in town. No, it's not something you eat. It's not something you cook. It's remote area medical. And so there's going to be a free clinic this upcoming Saturday at the 14th of October. And I'm going to be there volunteering. I'm really excited about it. I'm not exactly, she's going to tell us all about it, but I did read a little bit about it, and this organization goes to remote areas, underserved areas. And even though Rocky Mount has a pretty good amount of doctors, people might not be able to afford to come see them, or they don't have insurance. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons why they can't get into an office to see somebody. And so those are the people that we're focusing on. So welcome, Keisha Spivey.
Thank you.
She's my dear friend. We've known each other for a long time. Used to go to church at the same church. And she's a pastor and a innovator and a entrepreneur and a lover of God, and she is one that if you want something done, call Keisha. She'll get it done. If she's got it in her heart, if God tells her to, it is done. I can promise you that. And so we are going to talk tonight about Keisha and the remote area medical that she's going to talk to us about in 1 minute. And then I want to go into a little bit of her ministry, which is called Ripple Effects. And that's an organization here in town. And I'm just going to highlight. And at first I'm like, well, this is all health. But you know what? Ripple Effects is health because it treats the body, soul, and spirit. She feeds the poor. She makes food baskets. She preaches and teaches for people to get their souls right before their maker. And so it's all good health. It's not just good eating. It's not just moving. It's not just talking about breast cancer or blood pressure. All those things, of course, are part of my show and part of good health. But I really felt like this was the time, and I wanted to promote this remote area medical group that's going to be here on Saturday. And I'll be there early in the morning, probably about from 8 to 10 or 8 to 11 in there someplace. I got a soccer game and I've got a football game, but they're later on in the day, so the morning is yours. So anyway, hi Keisha Spivey.
Thank you for the opportunity to be here and to share a little bit about what we have going on. This kind of came about a few years ago, and my daughter and I were just really looking at so many people coming in through the center, and it was one thing for us to give them food.
And then the center is
Ripple Effects.
Okay.
We have a center here in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and we have a center in Oyigis, Kenya. So we have one. We believe in local and global missions. We don't think it's an either or. We believe it's an and. I believe that's what Matthew tells us, that we start at home and then we ripple out beyond. And we were noticing here that we were having people come into the center with basic stuff that we take for granted that we can get care for, and we would try to get them connected to resources, try to get them, they couldn't even afford medication, so getting to the doctor was one thing, then having prescriptions getting filled. We had seniors that we dealt with that were having to choose between meals and medicine. So once we got introduced into that, and then we started serving a lot of our students. We have a program at our center for children, and they were coming in starving. They were having behavior issues, and we were like, what's going on? And you pull them to the side and they're hungry, but then also they hadn't had their medicine. They're supposed to be on certain prescriptions that haven't been filled. And so you start backloading to this, and we see how it all comes together, and we create a perfect storm. Because you said it earlier, it's spirit, soul, and body. We have to have holistic wellness. And so as we started looking for opportunities to meet some basic needs with food and some basic needs with housing, we couldn't leave the body out. Because to have the food and to have shelter, but then to have a body that can't function can't fulfill God's perfect will, you were still leaving it. So we started looking for things that we could bring to the area, and so many things were so expensive. so many things they were just out of our grasp to be able to get here, and we came across them. And so my daughter and I, a year and a half ago, started attending these clinics, just going to places in Virginia. We went to several that just to see how they were held and who was served. And we saw seniors, we saw babies, we saw mothers, we saw, people coming in. We saw people that had medical insurance but couldn't afford because they had high deductibles.
Yeah.
Or
that's a real problem.
That's a big thing. We felt that this week. You have a high deductible, so you still have to pay so much money, so then people don't get care. And so we found out with this that there is no charge. Another thing that was important to us is that they didn't turn people away. There's no ID required.
You just show up.
Just show up. You show up and you get on a track for whatever services that you want to receive. And we make sure you get what you need. And we also help you get connection to local referrals. So we have agencies that if someone needs additional care, they need follow-up care, we have somewhere to send them. We're gonna.
That's great.
We don't want to leave anybody out there.
Right.
We're also working diligently to get someone there to help sign people up for the Medicaid and to the things that
that's great.
We're working on that.
Some people probably don't even know they're eligible.
There's so many people who have access to stuff that they could get if they knew about. So we're asking for resources and that information. So we talked to an agency today to try to have them on site to not only provide information, but to help people go through the process. Because a lot of times people just don't know. And so we can get the information to them and get the care to them. I think that's being a good neighbor.
I'm pretty excited.
That's being a good neighbor.
Even though I'll be there at 8 in the morning.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day. Our team has to be there. We're going to be there like at 4:15 that morning.
I know.
So it's going to be a full day, but I
was
believe.
looking on their site and they say people, because they want the care and, it's first come, first served basis, people stand in line at the crack of dawn to be seen.
We have people who have to be monitoring the parking lot from 6 p.m. on Friday night to make sure that when the people come in, that they're put into the system in the proper order that they arrive.
Oh, okay.
I even had a lady call. I was on a radio show today, and a lady called me, and she said, "How early can I come on Friday? Because I'll sleep in my car." And she began to talk, and she's a widow. And she said she needs eye care. I need everything. I haven't been to the doctor in so long. Can I come both days? And how early can I come? Because people need it. People need it. We are going to provide lunch for all of the people who are there as well. We have the Y coming
Just
to
have coffee.
Exercise. We got healthy coffee. Healthy lunch and coffee. We're going to have some exercise classes going on. Plenty of coffee. Plenty of coffee.
I'm good.
And tea too for those who like to drink tea. But the Y's coming to do classes. We're going to have a DJ. We're going to have some activities. So while you're waiting, we're being community. We're being community.
Right.
So we were looking for every possible thing that we could do to engage and collaborate with other businesses and churches and organizations who say, I want to be a part of doing something different. I want to be a part of helping people. So
I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be fun.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. When she posted it on Facebook, and I'm thinking I always have these great. Oh, this is going to be great. But then when the rubber hits the road, I'm like, Saturday, my day off, 8 o'clock in the morning. But I am looking forward to it. So where is it?
It's at Nash Central High School, right off of Old Carriage Farm. If you know where Nash Community College is, the address is 4729 Nash Central High Road. We're going to have a couple signs out in the community. If you know where the Sheets is and the Hardee's is, right there in that area.
Yeah, and that's Old Carriage.
Old Carriage.
And Sunset.
Yep, that's it.
And then you'd turn on Old Carriage.
And go past the tracks, and it's going to be sitting on your left. So we will have some signs out pointing people in the right direction. Yeah. Services will begin at 6 a.m. So once the people will be in position, so they'll actually be able to start coming into the process at 6. And again, we have tracking systems where you come in and you get signed in. We'll have a parking plan and even a waiting area for people, so that once you start in, you literally go through the process.
Right. And it's what time do the services actually, not when they can get there, but what time will the providers start providing?
Well, that's 6 o'clock. We're going to start
6 a.m.
6 a.m.
Okay.
We're going to start filtering through at 6 a.m. People are asking how long are we going to go. We're going to be there all day. However, Depending on how many people come in, we will have a limited number of providers as well as volunteers. So once we reach capacity for that day to be able to give the quality care that everyone needs and deserves, then that's the capacity that we'll meet. Our plan, I was speaking to the team on today, we encourage everyone to get there. If I were coming, I would probably get there by like 2 o'clock at the latest. And I only say that because in the afternoon, if you're trying to get service that day, because we don't know what the influx is going to be. We're believing for a lot of seniors, if I'm honest. I'm believing for seniors, and I'm also believing for a lot of children. Those are 2 hot spots that are big in our heart for our organization. And we're hosting it. We're partnering with Nash County Public Schools. Nash Central has been an amazing partner with us in getting this done. So we're sending it out to parents and to the grandparents. We spoke to the school system today, so it's going to get pushed out as well on their social media.
That's
because anyone, if you can show up, you can be seen.
Yeah, and I know there's probably plenty of teachers out there, and I mean, I went to my grandson's school last year to do a science presentation for his 5th grade, and so I got there early, before the kids were coming to see me, and the amount of children that ran through because I was in the library, and they ran through the library, I guess, to the cafeteria. I'm not sure how the whole school was set up, but I was amazed at the amount of kids that come there to eat breakfast.
Run in.
And they run. It's like, you got 10 minutes, go. Well, my bus was late. They're so worried about not being able to eat. Just broke my heart.
We had that happen at the center today. We had a student come in, and we don't provide breakfast, but of course we provide breakfast, and they came in, and the first thing that he said to me is, I'm hungry.
Oh.
So we navigate around. So yeah, that's an issue. So we look for opportunities. We're going to also have resources. So if you are, let's think about the holistic, maybe you need some medical care, but you're also struggling with food. We're going to have a resource guide to give you some connections on some food resources. We're also going to have housing resources. There's going to be a flyer we're putting together with some local resources that can help facilitate some of that, and also some of the things that Ripple Effects offer, so that even beyond today, beyond the weekend, we want to start a relationship, because the thing that Ripple Effects wants to do well is be a hub. We want to be that bridge to the organizations in our community. We have several that are doing some great things, and how do we help connect the people with needs to the places that can meet those needs? So we're going to make sure that we're getting information in people's hands, so that when they leave on Saturday or they leave on Sunday, our prayer is that they're better off because they came, and that this isn't a one-shot wonder. They're able to leave with tools and resources to really help them continue on that path to wholeness and to wellness.
So how do you think you'll probably do this again at some point down the road?
It's probably too close to say that now, because I've been working like a Hebrew slave all week. I have been rolling. So someone asked me today, our desire is that this first one,
it would be a continual project.
Well, we will till the ground, and people will see what's available, and it is a sacrifice. Today our team we got a lot going on behind the scenes, because even the people who are volunteering, we feed the volunteers. So we're preparing for 250 volunteers for every meal.
Oh my gosh.
Exactly. So we are preparing breakfast and lunch for volunteers and dinner.
I don't eat much.
It's going to be there. 5 a.m. breakfast is going to be. So our team's navigating all the nuances of what's behind the scenes. And we were meeting this morning after just lots of many pieces. And one of the persons says, do people really understand what it costs to help people?
Probably not.
They don't. And I said, the sad thing is,
I wouldn't know.
People, we don't know. And for people who haven't been in that place of need, we were at the hospital this week because my husband had to have a procedure, and we show up early like we're supposed to, and before we even get to the back, the first thing that they do is make sure he understands what he has to pay today.
Of course.
We hadn't even got back. What he has to pay today and what he's signing for that we owe. And as we were sitting there, I just thought about, oh my gosh. I could see people sitting there saying, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I immediately,
how am I going to pay
How am I going to pay for this? What are we going to do? And I was very grateful and praised God that in that moment we could take care of what we needed to take care of, and we could come up with a plan. But there were seasons in our life, Linda, where we didn't have health insurance.
Oh, yeah.
There were seasons where we had health insurance, but we couldn't afford $5, better yet, a bill like that. And I looked at my husband. I said, here's why we do what we do. It's a price tag that we went through it, but now can we help other people go through it a little more gracefully? May our pain not be in vain.
Right.
And so we went through that whole process, and I was grateful that we are offering people an opportunity to get testing, to get services, to get care, to get access. You know, OIC is going to be there with their mobile unit, so we're going to be doing blood pressure screenings and a whole bunch of different things, and people can get access to information. We had someone come in who's going to even teach about, I don't even know what it's called, but when all this stuff that's going on with the colon cancer and all that, this big increase in just providing information, because I had no idea how drastically that was affecting the African American community. I didn't know.
It's a high percentage.
I did not know that. And so we were sitting in the meeting, and so they're coming, and he's doing a whole presentation. Someone's traveling airplane 6 hours to be here to make sure our people know.
Wow.
And get access to the information.
That's awesome.
And I was sitting there listening to him going, I have no idea about any of this. And then I'm like, okay, what an honor it is to bring this information to the community.
Right.
And to have someone who's, I think he was actually from Greenville, originally from Greenville.
Oh, really?
So he has a heartbeat for the region. And so he's coming back to make sure that information goes back to where he got his roots.
Yeah. Gosh.
So we've been working
hard.
hard.
That's making me more excited. I want all of you to come out and see us.
Yes.
If nothing else, to come and say, hey, I watch your show. I'd love to see that. But anyway, yeah. So
I just like to encourage people to, maybe you don't need the services, but maybe there's somebody you know who could benefit.
Right. Bring them over.
Be a blessing to somebody else. If you know a senior, or you know a single mom, or you know someone who's struggling financially, or you know someone who's going through, what a blessing, what a gift to give someone. Let me get you to a place that can help ease this load a little bit. You know someone who has multiple children, they've never been to a dentist, bring them, let them get their teeth cleaned. If nothing more than that's ridiculous. I don't even want to talk about that. Even with the dental insurance, the cleanings.
Well, dental insurance is not very.
Oh my, it's not friendly at all. When the last clinic we went to, a lady was there who had 22 extractions, and I couldn't understand it.
It's only
because
66 teeth.
she had 22 because she needed to have them all pulled for dentures. But her insurance would pay for the dentures, but she had really bad periodontal disease, but would not pay for the extraction. So she drove from South Carolina to Virginia to have the teeth pulled, and she was so happy. And I'm sitting there thinking, I can't stand to have my teeth worked on.
That is not something I'd be happy about.
But she was crying from joy because she could go and get her dentures now. We had a senior in our building a couple months ago who had to take out a loan for $1,600 worth of dental work on her mouth. A breast cancer survivor, heart attack survivor, but $1,600 at 77 years old. She had to take out a loan because of dental care.
It's just such a shame that this country does not take care of our people and our elderly.
Oh my, that's a whole hot button
I
for me.
know. I know. She's got a lot of hot buttons.
I do. But being good to people and taking care of people, that's high on the list.
That's right. And what we can do with the hot buttons is pray about it, because we're not going to change it.
That's it. And continue to do things like these clinics, because we can't change the narrative, but we can change it for one person. We can start, our whole thing is that we can impact one, if we can help one, if we can inform one, then we're better off than when we started. That's how, bite it off a little bit at a time.
That's exactly right. That's a great way to look at it. All right, it's time for our first break. So when we come back, then I'm going to have Keisha tell you about what she's really passionate about. If you haven't noticed, Keisha's very passionate about things that she believes in, and I'm so glad that she believes in me and she loves me, and she's letting me do this. We've been friends for a long time, so it's just good to be able to sit down for an hour with her. So hang on, don't go away, and we'll be right back with more of Keisha Spivey. I almost said Keisha Battle. I don't even know where that came from.
That's my maiden name.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Oh, well, I was pretty right then. And we'll be moving into a little bit about ripple effects, what she does. Every time I run into her, she's got another grand story from Kenya or someplace, and it's always so uplifting to talk to her. So don't go away. We'll be right back after these sponsors.
If you or your loved one is living with hearing loss, and if you haven't found a solution that fits your lifestyle, then you should consult with the local experts at the new Hearing Aid Urgent Care in Nashville, North Carolina. Hearing Aid Urgent Care is a place to go for over-the-counter hearing solutions that will improve your daily life and communication between your loved ones and you. Purchasing in our store does not require any prescription or medical recommendation. Our team of experts does recommend a hearing examination so we can help you purchase the correct product for your personal needs. We hold regular listen and learn events so you can ask questions and work with the high-quality products from our vendors to find out what hearing device will best suit you before you buy. Open Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And you can call 252-459-4008 to find out more information. Hearing Aid Urgent Care located at 102 West Nashville Drive in Nashville, North Carolina.
When faced with special care needs for elderly or disabled loved ones, families want compassionate, comforting care. That's Tender Touch Home Care Services' goal, providing the level of care we would expect for our own. With over 10 years of home care excellence, Tender Touch provides an array of services that keeps your loved one at home. From personal care, light housekeeping, errands, and meal preparation, to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
There's a main nerve that leaves your back that goes into your hip and goes down your leg. It's called the sciatic nerve. A back injury can put pressure on that nerve, causing pain, numbness, tingling. Chiropractors can actually help that. At the Hammer Chiropractic Center on Sunset, we know exactly what to do. We have very good relationships with the doctors in Rocky Mount. We like to co-manage people's care. Some medications may help us do our jobs, and our jobs may help their medications work better.
Today, having the right health care plan tailored to your specific needs is vital to your peace of mind. The question is not if you will need the coverage, but when. And when that time comes, you want to be prepared. With the rising cost of medication, medical procedures, and doctor visits, you should know which is the right insurance plan for you. From life insurance, affordable health care, to Medicare, there are a lot of insurance options available, and choosing a plan can be overwhelming. Having Gus Tullis as your insurance professional on your side will give you peace of mind, because you will know you are covered with the insurance that meets your needs.
Hello, my name is Gus Tullis of Gus Tullis Insurance, and I've been helping people with their insurance needs for well over 20 years. Call me today. I'll answer any question you have. 252-937-6913. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Well, welcome back. This is Here's to Your Good Health, and my name is Linda Prezioso. I've got with me tonight Keisha Spivey, and she has been talking about RAM, the Remote Area Medical setup that she's having on Saturday and Sunday to help people with medical needs, whether it's vision, whether it's dental, whether it's medical. And she'll be feeding people and talking to people, and she's been talking all about that. But now I want her to go into her ministry, which is called Ripple Effects. And I've seen her birth it from the very beginning, humble beginnings, and now she's going crazy. She just told me she's going to India, y'all. So let's start at the beginning of Ripple Effects.
Okay, the beginning of Ripple Effects. I was actually, before we started this, I was on staff at Rise Church. I was working as their youth pastor, and what happened is there was a weekend almost 8 years ago that we had a drive-by shooting in Rocky Mount, and some kids were killed. We also had a suicide at Nass Central High School, and one of the seniors, athlete, shot himself. And that same weekend, I had my cousin hang himself.
Oh, wow.
So on that Monday, we're supposed to go into the schools and talk about, be encouragement to the, offer grief support, literally start navigating through that. And I was not in a good place, Linda. I was frustrated. I knew God's word. I knew he was good, but none of this made sense to me. And I was angry, and I'm supposed to go encourage and all these things. And I remember just weeping that morning getting ready. And I'm like, God, this isn't cool. This isn't cool. And how am I supposed to go in and encourage them? I knew that I was going to be traveling to out of town to do my cousin's eulogy. All these things were happening. And the Lord told me that I was looking at the ocean. And he said to me, Keisha, if you sit there and you look at the ocean, you'll drown. The despair, the darkness, the pain, it will take you under. He said, I never asked you to drink the ocean. He said, what I asked you to do was make ripples. And I'm like, okay, Jesus, what do you mean? He says, make ripples. He says, I've given you talents. I've given you abilities. I've given you places of influence. I've given you people. I've assigned people to you. And your job every day is to literally get up and throw your life into making ripples for them. And for that moment, being present and helping people navigate the storms, not trying to take it all in. And so I'm sitting there that morning, just having a conversation with the Father, and he says, I need you to commit to a life of making ripples. You can't change all the problems. You can't fix people. You can't wave a wand and everything is better, but you can make sure every day you do something that matters. And so as I sat there, and he just began to speak to me about ripples and ripple effects, and I was getting stirred, and the Lord says, make it official. That's what I've called you to do. So I talked to my husband, didn't have a clue what all that meant, but my husband has a business mindset and degrees and all that wonderful stuff. And so we filled out the paperwork to get incorporated for the state. So we just started Ripple Effects. We just started it, and we continued to do what we were doing, didn't think anything of it. 6 months later, I was dealing with several families through the school system and through the community that were homeless, that were hurting, and I'm like, what in the world? And trying to find resources for them. And as I began to work with them, I realized it wasn't that they didn't want better. They just didn't know how. They'd never been taught things we take for granted. Being able to articulate your needs and to articulate, what's going on and to get a fresh start. They had never, these are 4 and 5, 6 generations of poverty and brokenness and trauma and drama. And it was just in there, it was almost embedded in them. And so as I began to know them and get to work with them, I realized they just needed somebody to help them. So I continued in my position, but I began doing more and more in my time working with people, helping them get connected, and I set up my car was my office, and I'd be in the park.
Told you it was humble.
So we would park, and then Hunter Hill Cafe became my go-to place because I love their cake. So I would use their office and sit in there and meet people there and get people connected to going back to get their GED, just kind of my own little office. And so the Lord told me I needed to leave my full-time position and to just really commit to this work. And my only challenge was I had 2 kids in college and no money. So I was like, I don't know how we're supposed to do this. And the Lord says, I didn't ask you to pay for it. I asked you to faith for it. So my husband and I took a really big leap of faith, and we just released me from that full-time work in that arena to just really doing what we call street church. And we called it street church because we had an organization, we had no money, no building, no plan, and we just took church to the streets. We saw people and their needs. What can we do to help them? How can we help their day be better today? If it's a meal, if it's gas, if it's blankets, because we couldn't house them, but they're cold and they're sleeping in their car, if it's a shower. And so fast forward a little bit, we just continued to do that. We started Bible studies in the community. We were doing street church in the community. People were getting saved. I bought a pool from Walmart. We started doing baptisms outside. We did community meals. We just loved on people. And the more we loved on people, they wanted to know why. So it was an opportunity for us to meet practical needs and share the gospel, because I am a pastor and you don't get me without my Jesus. And as we began to do that, doors opened, and we were able to possess some older homes that needed a lot of help. But the community came, and we were able to refurbish some of those homes with roofs and flooring and windows, and we were able to move a family into one of those homes that was stacked, 14, 15 people in one house, and God opened up another door for us to get another home. Fast forward, we had a few additional homes, so then we opened up a home to serve as an emergency shelter home. We didn't know what we were doing. We just knew people needed and we were trying our best. God opened up the door for us to get a community center right there across from Stone Park, and that became a community resource center. We called it the RE-Center, Ripple Effects Empowerment Center, and we started doing classes there. We started just, what did the people need? They needed.
You were there quite a while too, weren't
Yep,
you?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. We were doing resume classes, vision boards. We were doing parenting classes. We were partnering with other organizations to just bring people in. We were doing community groups. We were having a group of women who had been through abuse. We had Bible studies going on. We were doing exercise classes, just all kinds of things. And then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, we were still very much, we had not ever received a grant. The only support we had were people just partnering with us at $20 and $30 a month. And that was how we made it. We made it by faith. When the Lord says not to pay for it, to faith for it, He mysteriously and miraculously provided.
He can provide.
He
that's
provided.
For sure.
He would show up at the late in the midnight hour and make sure stuff got taken care of. And when COVID happened and churches were shutting down and organizations were shutting down, the Lord says, I need you to stand up. And so we began. That's why our Serving Our Seniors program birthed, because we realized that these seniors who were the most at-risk group that were locked down, that were already had issues, how can we help them? That's when we found out that a large portion of the seniors that we had been connected with were getting like $12 a month in food stamps. I'm like, what can you do with $12? Bread and pack of meat?
Nothing.
Nothing. And so then we realized if we couldn't even go out and find toilet paper, what are they doing?
Yeah.
So we rallied around and we reached out to churches, and the church showed up. People partnered with us, and every week for about 9 months, we had 150 plus boxes of food going out of our center. Food banks were partnering with us, local churches partnered with us, and we made sure that those seniors were getting food, personal care items, toilet paper, those things. We just loved on them. And we became a lot of their churches.
Yeah.
And so then as people returned to work, we couldn't keep doing, because we were delivering them for like the first 6 months. We dropped them off. And then we had to transition from that because we lost a lot of our drivers when people went back to work. But then they still continue to come through and pick up boxes every Friday. And so we serve them, and so we continue to serve them because you can't drop them now that COVID's gone. You still get $12 of food stamps, so we still have partnered with them, and now just in the process of partnering with the North Carolina Food Bank so that we can continue to offer them food. And so we just continue to create programs that we're filling gaps. Our whole premise is we want to break cycles of desperation and hopelessness. The only way to break a cycle is to change the narrative.
Yeah.
You got to pluck it up from the root.
Yeah.
You got to pluck it up from the root, and that plucking is not pretty, but it's necessary, because if not, you don't have a bad tree because of bad fruits. You got a bad tree because of bad roots. So we just take the time to do the dirty digging. We started another program, so we have a street outreach program that gears toward the homeless, unsheltered population. So we work a lot with unsheltered families. We have a program that we call Serving Our Seniors, which is geared toward meeting the needs of seniors. We have a program called Reset. We have a partnership with Nash County Public Schools to where we house their students that are suspended or expelled. So they're able to come and spend some time with us instead of be at home, where they can get mentorship, they can get counseling, they can get social emotional learning, so that they are not just sitting and falling further and further behind. That was a need that came out of COVID. Kids went back to school and behavior was off the charts, and kids are getting expelled kindergarten and first grade. What do you do with that? Sit at home and watch TV, be on social media, play games. So we opened up the gap for that. So for us, we're really a gap filler and a bridge builder. If another organization is doing it, we really don't want to. How can we partner with you to help expand your capacity? And how can we fill in the gaps for the people that need to get there? And so a couple years ago, we were able to open up a center in Kenya through God's design. And so we're now serving thousands of people there. That's actually birthed a church. So we have a church that's 1 year old in Kenya, Bethel Church. And the work that we're doing here has led to us birthing a church. So we just recently, in the early pre-launch stages of Awaken Church here in Rocky Mount, because again, that spirit, soul, and body piece, we're meeting the practical needs of the body. We're making sure that they're getting the mental and emotional support and things that they need. However, that spiritual component is big. that holistic wellness.
You gotta have it all.
It's a package. It's gotta roll. It's like a bike.
Yep.
The spokes matter. Every spoke matters. And if one is broken and one's bent, there's a wobble. But when all of them are well and all of them are in position, it rolls. And that's what we want to do. We want to help people roll. We want to help people keep moving forward in life. So that's kind of the story.
Roll with her?
A ripple effects.
She gets me so excited. Now I can't wait till your church is going, and I'm going to come.
Come visit. We love to have you.
I am.
Love to have you.
Yeah, because I still go to Rise Church, and the, what is it, 4 Sundays a year. It's the 5th Sunday, and they all go to the big church. I don't like the big church. It's too many people. So I'm going to come to your church.
Come visit.
I will.
And our church is very different. It's very untraditional. I don't know a better way to say it.
That.
Just very untraditional. It is just a little bit out the box.
I know.
Because we target the people that are often overlooked and invisible. The people that don't feel comfortable coming into a big church.
Yeah.
They don't have the clothes. They don't have the pedigree. They don't know the language. Because we have a church language. But these people, we try to create a space and place that anyone, no matter who you are, where you are, what you've done and where you've been, you can come into a place that you can encounter Jesus, because we believe he changes everything.
That's right. He does change everything.
He changes everything.
And that's what Jesus did. He didn't, he didn't go to he did go to the synagogues. He wasn't very well liked in the synagogues.
He wasn't.
But he reached to the thousands on the streets.
That's it.
That's what
he was a traveling medic. He was a traveling counselor. He he was where the people were.
That's right.
And I think one of the things that we have done is we've gotten so comfortable with the come to me instead of the let's go to them. Let's be the church. We made the church about a building instead of the body.
And you're a go to them person.
Let's go to them. Because most people in the church are saved. Or at least they pretend to be.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be.
We're not going down that road.
So we're going to the ones who know there's no hope for them. They need light. They need light, and so they're not always coming running toward it. So we run toward them with it.
Right. And I think we the church, meaning the whole, for the most part, we just go Sunday and sit in the pew and get our 3 songs and put our money in the offering, and we fulfilled our obligation.
Check.
Yep.
That's it.
And that's not what God wants of us.
That's not. He commands us to go and be. And
Isn't that what he said? Go forth into all nations?
That's it. And be.
Okay.
That's what he told us to go be. He told us he gave me permission to be salty. He did. He gave me permission to be salty and to be light. So I think for us, Ripple Effects allows us to marry our faith with the foundation of kingdom and being impact players for the greater good. I think we want to talk about what we think is important, but why not introduce it to people? When you show them love and you show them care and compassion.
You can preach at somebody till you're blue in the face, but if you're the hands and feet,
that's it.
And you show them and you accept them and you love on them with what they need,
that's it.
Which might be breakfast.
That's it.
We can't. It just can't all be preaching Jesus. That's part of it, and it's an important part. But you've got to
let's live Jesus.
Yeah, you got to.
We had someone that all they needed was a shower, and that's such something we don't think about.
Right.
But for them, that was love. We had another person that just was a conversation, and he was an atheist. Fast forward, he was an alcoholic. He's now sober since July 1st, if I'm not mistaken. Has gotten saved, been baptized, and now committed. I see him walking with his word because he's been introduced to love. He's been introduced to love, and I think it's so much more impactful when people experience love.
Yeah, of course.
When they experience it. So that whole
it's so life-changing, obviously, for that fella.
Yeah. You can't deny it. And it's not something that you can get talked out of. Because I may not trust you, and I may not know you, and I may not know your motives, but I can't deny how you made me feel. I can't deny the safety or the assurance or the care that I felt when I was with you.
That's right.
And so it's a foundation builder. So when they ask, why are you doing this? Why are you showing up here with food? Why are you bringing me some socks? Why are you bringing me this? I'm going to tell you why, because God loves you and so do I. How does God love me? I'm so glad you asked. It's the perfect lead-in.
Right.
And so because I brought socks, or because I brought coffee, or because I showed up when I said I would, I answered the phone when you called. That speaks volumes. And I think we just have to do a better job of what hands and feet are what we live by, but it's putting our boots on the ground.
Yep. Absolutely.
Putting the boots on the ground.
Yep. All right, it's time for our next break, and when we come back, we're going to keep talking to Keisha. She's passionate. She keeps you going, and I just love this girl. So don't go away. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
If you or your loved one is living with hearing loss, and if you haven't found a solution that fits your lifestyle, then you should consult with the local experts at the new Hearing Aid Urgent Care in Nashville, North Carolina. Hearing Aid Urgent Care is a place to go for over-the-counter hearing solutions that will improve your daily life and communication between your loved ones and you. Purchasing in our store does not require any prescription or medical recommendation. Our team of experts does recommend a hearing examination so we can help you purchase the correct product for your personal needs. We hold regular listen and learn events so you can ask questions and work with the high-quality products from our vendors to find out what hearing device will best suit you before you buy. Open Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And you can call 252-459-4008 to find out more information. Hearing Aid Urgent Care located at 102 West Nashville Drive in Nashville, North Carolina.
When faced with special care needs for elderly or disabled loved ones, families want compassionate, comforting care. That's Tender Touch Home Care Services' goal, providing the level of care we would expect for our own. With over 10 years of home care excellence, Tender Touch provides an array of services that keeps your loved one at home. From personal care, light housekeeping, errands, and meal preparation, to our private duty care program, which combines all of our home care offerings in one package.
Tender Touch Home Care Services, where your needs are our concern.
There's a main nerve that leaves your back that goes into your hip and goes down your leg. It's called the sciatic nerve. A back injury can put pressure on that nerve, causing pain, numbness, tingling. Chiropractors can actually help that. At the Hammer Chiropractic Center on Sunset, we know exactly what to do. We have very good relationships with the doctors in Rocky Mount. We'd like to co-manage people's care. Some medications may help us do our jobs, and our jobs may help their medications work better.
Today, having the right health care plan tailored to your specific needs is vital to your peace of mind. The question is not if you will need the coverage, but when. And when that time comes, you want to be prepared. With the rising cost of medication, medical procedures, and doctor visits, you should know which is the right insurance plan for you. From life insurance, affordable health care, to Medicare, there are a lot of insurance options available, and choosing a plan can be overwhelming. Having Gus Tullis as your insurance professional on your side will give you peace of mind, because you will know you are covered with the insurance that meets your needs.
Hello, my name is Gus Tullis of Gus Tullis Insurance, and I've been helping people with their insurance needs for well over 20 years. Call me today. I'll answer any question you have. 252-937-6913. Looking forward to hearing from you.
Hello, welcome back. This is Here's to Your Good Health. I've been having such a good time with my friend Keisha. I'm just excited that she's here, and I'm excited for all she's doing. And every time I talk to her, she's got another iron in some fire someplace. I thought I was busy and a go-getter. I'm like nothing next to this girl here. She's a firecracker, that's for sure. So Keisha, tell me a little bit more about your place in Kenya. How did that even come about?
Well, God is so good. Well, first of all, when I was 18 years old, my Sunday school teacher told me I was called to the nations. And I believed her for a minute, but then I'm a little girl from Nash County. I don't know how that's going to work. And to God be the glory, it took me 30 years to get there. But the vision of what was painted for me at 18 came to pass. But I went to Kenya with some friends of mine who have planted multiple churches. And when I went there, I went to serve. I'd always wanted to go, but I had no clue what I was doing. So I just went there kind of as an armor bearer to just serve them. And I did that. And as I was there, I was in awe of what God was doing. They had planted, I think, like 6 churches in several areas, and some were in more city area and some in the bush. But when we were leaving, I just began to pray, and I said, God, I don't think that you brought me here to spend money that I didn't have to spend, to experience all this for nothing. And I just began to pray. And about that time, I passed by a sign that said Kenya Assemblies of God. And I looked. I'm like, okay, first of all, this is funny. Kenya Assemblies of God. I'm ordained Assemblies of God. So I got back to the hotel that night and just still was praying about next steps. We were going to be leaving out that next day. And Kenya Assemblies of God just kept coming back in my mind. I even took a picture of the sign. So I went on Facebook. And here I am in Nairobi, Kenya at the time. And I go on Facebook, and there's 6 Kenya Assemblies of God groups. So I send a message to all 6. I let them know that I am I have a doctorate in theology. I have a master's in divinity. I'm going through all these things that I'm going through, and I was looking for an opportunity to partner, but I don't know what it looks like. So if you want to have a conversation, hit me back. And this is funny. I'm in Kenya, 8,000 miles away, and an 81-year-old white woman in Tampa, Florida, responded to my message. I sent it to 6 groups. And one person responded, and I looked, and I'm like, okay, trying to figure all this out because I'm in Kenya. And she says, I have someone for you to speak to. And I'm like, okay, am I being pranked? Am I being spammed? I'm like, what's going on? I'm in Kenya, and I see this older lady, and she tells me she's Assemblies of God in Tampa. She knows someone, she'd been there before, that I should follow up with. So she gave us information, and again, I was in Kenya at that time. I was with this team. My husband wasn't with me, and so I was going to wait till I got back to the States to follow up. However, the gentleman that she had connected me with called me on Facebook, and it scared me because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in Kenya, my husband's not here, we're not ready to talk now. So I told him, let's schedule a Zoom meeting when I get back into the States, when you can have your wife with you and I can have my husband. We got back into the States, Linda, and we did a Zoom call. And to my surprise, that man was my complete personality, and his wife Edna was my husband's complete personality. So it was like we had met Eric and Keisha 8,000 miles away, and the more we talked, our hearts just mended. It's like they became our instant children. And when I asked them, I said, what is it that you want me to do? How can we help you? You know, of course you're expecting them to ask for money. You're expecting something. And they says, can you please just teach us the Bible? We've learned discipleship, but we've never learned the Bible.
Wow.
I said, absolutely. So Good Friday, 2 years ago, I started teaching Walking Through the Word. And it was in their home. We Zoomed it in. And after like 3-4 weeks, it had grown so much that they had to get speakers to put outside for people in the community to hear. So after about 3 months, there was no space. I told them, let's find a space. Let's see if we can find a space. God miraculously opened up a place for us, and so we created a Bible study. And then from the Bible study, we started duplicating the programs that we were doing there. We started a program for people in recovery. We started a program for the teenagers. We started a program for all these different things, and they began to grow. You know, when the program we started called Wajibika, which is responsibility, that was for men who were addicts. Every one of those men now are sober. Wow. And every single one of them now are saved and serving God. So to God be the glory. We did a program called Jillaway, which is to know thyself, and that is for the children, and we were teaching them on purity. We adopted 5 or 6 schools, and we started taking in sanitary towels because girls can't go to school during that certain time of the month because they don't have the resources. So we created a partnership with them. We adopted an orphanage, and we just began to just expand our arm and love on the community. And through the loving on the community, through teaching them the Bible, through giving them an opportunity to have healthy community, it just grew. I think our first year, we served over 10,000 people in the center. And we visited, and so we've gone several times. I used to get to go now once a quarter or so. And through that process, the church was birthed. And so we are now, I think our church is probably about 140 strong.
Wow.
And it's growing. That's just adults. That's not including the children. And so we just recently built a facility there. And so God has just been moving. And so he's opened up doors. And so we're training up a leadership team. We're actually working, Eric is working with several of them and starting their own businesses, because a lot of them have traits. Unlike, I learned quickly, they are some of the hardest working people I've ever met in my life. Like from sun up to sundown, they work, because they work that day to eat that day. There's not like reserve. There's no like refrigeration. So when I get up this morning, I'm going to work to earn the money so I can feed my family that day. And so they have such skills. They are so creative. And so we have, we did a class there where we taught them tailoring. And so now several of the graduates, we gave them all sewing machines when they completed the class. They now have tailoring classes. One of them is doing a tailoring school in her home, and several of them have opened up tailoring boutiques. And so we are now helping them enterprise so that they can take care of themselves and take care of their family, but also learn business principles, also learn money management, and also begin to learn systems to help cultivate what they have, so that it can work for them tomorrow. Those are principles a lot of them haven't really been introduced to, so we are working with them on that. So that bridge program, we graduated our first 12 students in that, and so now we're about to revamp for our next group. So lots of ministry opportunities. And the thing about Kenya that excited me is it takes so little to do so much. We were able to dig a well last year in a village that had never had clean drinking water, and to watch 80-something-year-old women drink water, clean water. Yeah. Those things, it takes so little.
I know.
To do so much.
There's a group here in town, not in town, but in this country, called the Elijah List, and it's a voice for prophets. But they have a well building, and they take X amount of dollars that are donated to them and build wells in Africa. And somebody said one time, well, why don't you build wells here in the States? And there's so much regulation that, they can build about 8 for the one that might go through here, which is very sad, because there's still plenty of people, indigenous people,
absolutely,
that don't have wells here in this country.
The regulations, we hurt ourselves. We bought land out there, and our desire is next year to be able to build our own center there, to be able to open up a company so that we can teach them how to actually get in position for marketing some things, but also to the Be Like Candle company that we have, that we use to support missions locally and globally, to be able to have them start producing there so that they can create income.
So where is your Be Like Candle company? Is that here in town?
It is here. Our previous site, where we were over on Forest Hill, that has now become our outreach center. So that is the Be Like Candle factory. It's also where we're working to do street outreach services, like we are having the food pantry there. We're having other personal care items and things that we get to families that we're helping to get housed. So that's really becoming the outreach center. We just moved into our new location. We took possession of the old Shaw campus on Sunset. So that's where our new administrative building is. That's where our classrooms are. That's where we're doing our training and where we're doing other community activities and things there. So the other location, our previous location, is now for all outreach.
Wow. That is it's just amazing. I have no words. I'm just speechless. So let's go over again about the Ram. I love that. It makes me think of the LA Rams. I don't know why. It doesn't make me think of animals. But anyway, let's go over this one more time and tell us all about this and who can go and why they should go. And
first of all, the clinic is on Saturday and Sunday, and we're going to start seeing clients at 6 a.m. We're at Nass Central High School. That address is 4729 Nass Central High Road, and we're going to be doing free medical, free dental, and free vision, and it's open to anyone. It is free services. No ID is required. I do have to put a plug in. We do need another eye doctor. Listen, if you are an eye doctor, we need a local eye doctor. We are begging, because the phone has been ringing off the hook every day this week because there are people asking about glasses and eye care. And that's a big plug. So we need to get a local eye doctor. If you look on the screen, you can sign up at volunteer.ramusa.org. I tag today list. I went on social media and I start tagging eye care centers. I start looking on websites and finding eye doctor names because I believe that God has opened up the door for us to bring this to this
That's
region,
right.
and we need to do everything in our power to make sure we have maximum capacity of services. So we need an eye doctor. I'm begging.
The eye doctor really only has to sign off on the glasses.
Yes.
They do everything else. So if you know somebody who needs glasses
Yes.
and can't afford it, they can get it this way. We just need the MD to say,
Yep.
George Jones, MD, and then these people get glasses for nothing. So it's just, where's the Lions Club? Don't you do glasses? Maybe you have some resources.
Somebody, anybody, a connection.
I don't
We
know.
need an eye doctor. When our last clinic, we actually made glasses. We were literally in the vision lab, and being able to see someone who put their glasses on for the first time in their life.
Oh.
That's magical. That's ministry.
yes,
So we need an eye
yes.
doctor. You can sign up on the site there. We still need other volunteers as well, just regular support volunteers. We need hands. We want to show the people coming to be served that this community loves them, that we value them, that they are seen, that they're significant, and that we're honored to serve them. This isn't something that we got to do. This is something that we get to do. Linda,
yes.
we get to love
I
on people.
know.
We get to serve hurting
Because
people.
we have so much.
We have so much.
And so much talent. I mean, I've got lots of talent in the medical community. She tagged me on Facebook.
I did. I'm tagging people.
That's how I got roped into this thing.
Love, love, love. I'm reaching out. I want people to be a part of this.
Yeah, I know.
Because I believe when it's done, we'll be physically exhausted, but I believe we will be so revived.
Oh yeah, emotionally
I believe
and
we will be
spiritually.
revived.
Yes. All right, well, our time is up. Thank you so much. Be sure you go on that volunteer site. It's real easy. If I can sign up and do it right, anybody can, because I'm not very technologically savvy. But like she said, you don't have to be part of the medical community to come and serve and help. There'll be plenty of work for you to do. So I hope you'll come out and see me Saturday and tell me you watched me and tell me you saw Keisha on my show. Have a great evening, and we'll see you next week with more of Here's to Your Good Health. Good night.